name is Pierluigi Olivero, and I'm the chair. Welcome to the parking validation machine is located at that table to the right, direction I'm pointing left. Insert the ticket when the light is green. Following roll call, we will allow the public may provide comment. But I think we typically salute the flag. And where is that? There is no flag. So I guess considering we do not have a flag this evening, skip the Pledge of Allegiance. By the way, does the sound like I'm going in and out?
Yes.
It does. Let's switch for now. Okay. Okay, roll call. Commissioner Barocio.
Here.
Commissioner Bickford.
Here.
Commissioner Cantrell. Commissioner Casey.
Here.
Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Ornelas Wise.
Here.
Commissioner Lardenois.
Here.
Commissioner Rosario. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Tordillos.
Here.
Excellent.
Just to clarify, so these are always on unless we hold the button. Is that
Yeah, if
correct?
you need to have a private conversation, you'll press the button.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So moving on to the summary of hearing procedures. If you want to address this commission, please fill out a speaker card located on this table and and just provide the card to the front here. Have a little different environment, have the person who would accept it pull the card, but you can just drop it on that table right there at the corner. So the procedure for this hearing is as follows. After staff's presentation, applicants or appellants have 5 minutes during public comment. The chair will call out names on submitted speaker cards. As your name is called, please line up. And for those who attend by web meeting, the meeting technician will connect those persons who desire to speak to the commission so they may be heard. Generally, each speaker will be given up to 2 minutes, and speakers using a translator will have double the time. At the discretion of the chair, the time allotted to each speaker may be changed depending on time management of the meeting. After the public testimony, the applicant and or appellant may make closing remarks for up to an additional 5 minutes. Planning commissioners may ask questions of the speakers. The public hearing will then be closed, and the planning commission will then discuss and vote. If you challenge these land use decisions in court, you may be limited to raising only the issues you or someone else raised at this public hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. The Planning Commission's actions on rezonings, pre-zonings, general plan amendment, and code amendments is advisory to the City Council. The City Council will hold public hearings on these items. Section 20.120.400 of the Municipal Code provides procedures for legal protests to the City Council on rezonings and pre-zonings. The Planning Commission's actions on conditional use permits is appealable to the City Council in accordance with Section 20.100.220 of the Municipal Code. Agendas and all staff reports for this meeting may be accessed on the city website. So on the call to order and orders of the day, before we begin, I want to remind the commission and anyone in attendance to follow our code of conduct, this conduct displayed on the agenda. Not following the code of conduct may result in exiting of that person from the meeting. The meeting of the Planning Commission will now come to order. And yes.
I'd like to ask any
I had that
commissioners
here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
If there's any ex parte communications you'd like to discuss time.
Any communication with applicants? That's something on this agenda tonight. Nope. Great. Got that from my city attorney who put that in. Okay, public comment. Now is a time for public comment on items not on the agenda, but pertaining to municipal government, non-agendized items. The commission can't take any formal action without the item being on the agenda, and nor may the suggested item be in the purview of the Planning Commission. So I would ask, is there any members of the public that would like to speak at public comment? Now would be your time. And I would ask our web administrator, is there anyone online that wants to make a public comment?
We do not have anyone on this side yet.
Thank you very much. So no one online, and it appears no one in the room. So now we have the consent calendar. There's really no separate discussion on these individual consent calendars since they're considered to be routine and adopted as one motion. We have 2 items which are fairly typical, adding a liquor license to a grocery store and a modernization of an existing gas station. So are there any comments on the consent calendar from the commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Tordillos.
I just had one question on item 4B, CP 23002, specifically with the findings for
a determination of public convenience or necessity. So it mentioned in the additional findings 5C, it mentions that the census tract in which the proposed outlet is located has a low population density in relation to other census tracts in the city. And I saw that the staff report analysis spoke to the question of overconcentration, but didn't seem to address the question of low population density. So just a question for.
Great. Staff, do we have a answer to the commissioner's inquiry?
Cora McNaughton with the planning department. So that's not something that fairly, but we're figuring out, is that something? The police,
I know this was in the
which was
staff.
in which section?
So this was in the staff report under the findings for determination of public convenience in municipal code 684030. And this was under the additional findings, 5C.
We have not evaluated for low population. Well, have to find two, but there's two finding. There's the low population density. Those outlet. Absolute outlet. You are correct. So go back and
My only recommendation was going to be potentially revising resolution for city council to remove the finding 5C and just leave finding 5B and D.
So, Commissioner, did you want to pull that item and have a separate motion outside of the consent calendar with your suggestion? Or did you want staff to comment? Would that be?
I guess, does staff have a comment on that?
I don't.
Staff comfortable with the suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
If that is a typo, it can.
Okay, so your director, you're saying the commissioner's concern can be managed as a typo and done administratively. Okay, fair enough. Great.
Then my only other comment
Yes.
was one other typo. It looked in the draft resolution that it had a typo saying that finding 1 under the findings of determination of public convenience and necessity was accommodated, whereas it should be cannot. And it's stated correctly in the staff report for planning commission, just not draft resolution.
I suspect Commissioner Tortillos is using AI. View of all, no, just teasing. He is AI. Fair enough.
Yeah, that
Any-
was it for me.
Any other questions from the commissioners on either of the items?
I have one.
Yes, Commissioner Nolis Wise.
The second item on the consent calendar, the conditional use permit to legalize World Oil, I believe it was. I was looking at Exhibit G, the operational plan, and it seemed to be incorrect, and it looked like it was the target one for the ABC license. So if that could get.
Maybe we'll have staff clarify that. Staff is looking.
Can you come to the put?
Operations plan was for Target, not for World Oil.
Correct,
Oh,
correct.
sorry.
Yeah, because the gas station isn't going to be selling alcohol.
It's
Yeah, there's no alcohol
140
sales.
to 180 people. I said, oh, I,
Oh, no,
Really?
No.
Must be gas for 10 cents a gallon.
The hyperlink PDF.
I think that's the, I can tell you that the operation is pretty simple. It's just the only change was maybe hours of operation for this site. They're gonna stay open and but not late. Yeah, sorry. So it looks like that was just
Can you,
Not
can you
sure.
give us an update on what the correct
sure.
say?
Would
If
it
you
be
need a second.
helpful if I share my screen?
yes.
Okay, I
Yeah,
thought
if
I'd
you
do
could
that.
show the
Great.
operational
Sure.
plan, that's
Hold on,
correct.
just
Sure.
I noted our extension. Question. That a. Or is that a standard set of?
I think that'd be a fair question of staff.
Yeah, sure. I can answer that first and then I'll get the operations spin up. So anytime that a project operates outside of the hours of, or within the bounds of 6 a.m. to midnight, it's just permitted. There's no any additional permit required. If they operate after midnight, then they have an additional. That's any business.
And just wanted to point out to the technician who's ever managing the YouTube meeting, apparently our voices are muted. For those that are reading the caption, you can go to the City of San Jose's website and watch it live outside of YouTube.
I just had a question
Yeah.
regarding the convenience store at the gas station, because it said the gas was gonna close at 10, but the convenience store was gonna stay open till 11. I just didn't know why there wasn't consistency in the hours of operation and why the gas station couldn't be open until the convenience store.
We have the applicant here.
So why don't we actually pull item and get
Yeah.
a full presentation?
Okay.
on that? Okay, but has to be recommended from one of.
I recommend that we pull item CP 20-026 from the consent calendar.
Granted. So then if we're going to pull that item, can we take a motion on the other item A and B as part of the consent calendar? Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Outstanding. Any questions on that motion?
Just like to clarify for the record that it reflects Commissioner Tordios' request.
100%, 100%, yes. Okay, all right. The roll call is Commissioner Barroso,
Yes.
Commissioner Bickford,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey, Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Ornelas Wise,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosario,
Yes.
Commissioner Lardenois,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Tordios.
Yes.
That item passes. Now we have a separate item pulled that we can discuss.
Fantastic.
And staff, are you ready to take on that question that was posed earlier?
Sure. No presentation. I'm wondering if you want to just continue the discussion. That'd be
Sure.
okay.
Any
Okay.
questions for the staff on this one? Commissioner Ornelas Wise, has your previous question been answered?
No,
Want to restate it, please?
yeah, so basically what I wanted to know, it looked like based on the staff report that the gas was going to stay open until 10 PM, but the convenience store was going to stay open until 11 PM per what I
Gotcha.
read. And so I just wanted to know why there wasn't consistency in the hours of operation for both the gas and the convenience store.
Might have just been a typo on my end, but my understanding is that it's 11 p.m. across the board.
Oh, okay.
And actually, part of that is our own policy for the city, where if you have gas open, door needs to be open as well. So I know it's flip flops, but yeah, essentially we would need bathrooms. And then I'll let the applicant. That's if you.
Okay.
Are there any other questions regarding this item or just simply the typo that we found? Don't see any, then I think then we have a motion on this item. Or if the applicant really wants to speak, you're happy to come forward.
I'm Lee from World Oil. Yes, our operation hours are 6 a.m.
Okay, no, I think that's great. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion on?
I'll move. Approve.
We have a motion and a second. Outstanding. Any further comment on the item?
I'd like to just make a comment that, I know that there's a VMC hospital down the street and I'd like, I think it's fantastic that you're upgrading the site because it'd help improve a lot of people that are there 24 hours. So thank you.
I like to share with the applicant, although you don't have a major brand that has a lot of different gas stations across our city, I have used your facility and I've often thought it was just kind of basics. And I think this modernization will be good for the neighborhood. So with that said, let's vote. Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Rosario,
Yes.
Commissioner Tordillos,
Yes.
Commissioner Ornelas Wise,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bickford, Commissioner Lardenois,
Yes.
Commissioner Barosio,
Yes.
and myself, yes. I don't think I voted on the last one. Yes. Okay, so we've completed our calendar. Don't have any other public hearing items. We have, do we have a report from council?
On TS. Approved real property. All this.
Great. Okay. And then I think we're moving on to item C, election of chair and vice chair for the full year ahead. So first of all, I want to thank the commissioners for selecting me to serve as chair. I really, really appreciated the opportunity to serve as chair. There's a lot of time management that's necessary in getting some of these lengthy agendas. Tonight's not a good example, but other agendas carry a lot of different items and therefore are pertinent to get the business finished. I think as we go into the new year, the chair should have, perhaps, at least a year on the planning commission and have experience of, planning outside of the commission ideally. And I think also that whoever, the commissioner, the chair should not feel be obligated that they have to attend every. There are things that come up in family life where you may not be able to attend, and that's why the commission has a vice chair structure to allow that to happen. I would also share that the chair, vice chair, and all the members of the commission under current state law do have the flexibility to call in remotely a certain number of times a year. And Senator Laird has a bill in the state legislature that would give commissions greater flexibility than they have today. So I say that because of responsibility of chair, et cetera. So I would just simply, if it's okay to make a recommendation that I think our next chair would be Sylvia Ornelas Wise. Sylvia has 10 years experience as a planner at the County of Santa Clara. Sylvia has a master's degree in urban planning from San Jose State. And I think, regular attendance and, to the pertinent questions, et cetera. So I'd like the commissioner to strongly consider it. And as far as vice chair, we have a great team here and there's a lot of people that would be, great for that. So if someone wants to be the vice chair, simply, share why you'd like to do the job and let us all know. But I would turn if I've given enough pause for Commissioner Ornelas Wise to consider. I have not spoken to you. So that's why I figured I'd ask.
So, Chair, point of order.
Yes.
If there's another nomination, should we do that first?
Well, at this point, I recognize Commissioner Ornelas Wise, but
Okay.
then, come back to you.
Great.
I don't know.
Or
what
would
to
you
say.
rather have Commissioner Young stayed and give you another?
I would accept if you'd like.
Great. So I'll go to Commissioner Young. You were recognized.
Yeah, so with respect to Commissioner Nellis Wise, I'd like to nominate Vice Chair Lardenois. He's been on the commission for a really long time. I think probably the senior or second most senior, and has demonstrated, in my mind, a lot of intelligence, thoughtfulness, and diligence. I think he would be a great chair.
Okay, great. So we've have some, and then we turn to Commissioner Lardenois. Would you be open to being considered as chair?
Also, just great respect to Commissioner Ornelas Wise, I would accept the nomination.
Okay, so we have two, and then on the topic of vice chair, is there anyone interested in that position as it's on its own?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Burrell. I think he's also been on the commission for quite some time and has really demonstrated great commitment to this work and has been a great voice on the commission. I think.
Thank you. Chair, just a point of order.
Yeah.
Do we need seconds on the nominations or not?
Well, we're probably just going to have a vote. So we'll go from there. We have two
Okay.
people to consider for one, and so far one for vice chair. But the charter doesn't really call out an official process for having an election of chair and vice chair. It's pretty informal.
Okay.
So,
Before we move on, I wanted to say something, just totally outside of this process. I actually wanted to thank you for your stewardship and your work here. It's been consistent, great, keep us on track. We appreciate that. And definitely appreciated your tenure as well as vice chair, as a vice chair. Just wanted to say thank you. It's helpful to have that consistent guidance through these meetings and keeping it on tempo. So
thank you for your kindness. Thank
I
you.
would like to echo that.
Oh, thank
Commissioner
you.
Oliverio, very much appreciate the leadership you've given over the last year. You've been, it's kind of like herding ducks sometimes with our commission. And I think you've done a really, really good job of managing that in a considerate, but a way to bring us back to business, and Vice Chair Lardenois as well. So, but thank you very much. I know it's a lot of work. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your kindness. Appreciate it very much. Okay, so now we'll come back to the question of chair or vice chair. I'd simply like to restate that I know over this past term, we as commissioners have talked about, for example, how the makeup of the commission was oddly one-sided. And certainly appointing an ultra qualified person as our chair would I think be a good step in that, something we can. So I will. So I think how about this? I will make a motion to nominate Commissioner Sylvia Ornelas Wise as chair, and then if we get a second on that motion, we can have a vote, and then also do the same with, and if that, we'll do a second, and then if that motion passes or doesn't pass, then we can have a consideration. So just second. Yes. Yeah.
So the current vice sounds like precedent.
That's correct. It's random.
So just
Yeah.
clarification. If a second comes, then is that assumed to be the election of?
That would be, then that would allow us to go.
Okay.
And then and then based on the outcome, we would decide from.
Chair, could I ask a question to our attorney?
Sure.
Would it be possible just to do a show of hands? We have two candidates, basically. Do we really need to do a motion in a second? Okay.
And as the chair stated, there's no formal process.
Okay.
Something
I
that we
mean,
can-
if that's okay with you, Chair.
That's completely
I would
fine.
prefer to do that.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So then all in favor of first nomination, which have Sylvia Ornelas Wise serve as chair for the incoming year. 3, 4, and then hands down. And then all those in favor of Commissioner Lardenois serving as chair for the incoming year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Voted for you. Just teasing. But still, you have. No, that's fine. That's fine. So at any rate, so yeah, so the votes carry. So Commissioner Lardenois will be our chair for the incoming year. And now we go back to the topic of vice chair. We had a recommendation nomination of Commissioner Cantrell. Anyone else interested in managing the vice chair position? Commissioner Barroso?
I would. Is it in the history where a nomination for chair, if that doesn't work out, they move up to being considered for vice chair? And with all due respect, Cantrell, I think you would do a great job, but I think the 3 names are great, but I definitely want to, give my neighbor another shot.
Yeah, there's always that option of in any elected commission type of thing. If the one person's not selected as chair, they could serve as vice chair. Absolutely.
So I would ask, would you consider vice chair?
I would.
Okay, so we have a nomination of Commissioner Cantrell, a nomination of Commissioner Ornelas Wise. Is there any discussion or should we just do our raise the hands procedure? Okay, since Commissioner Cantrell was nominated first, all in favor of Commissioner Cantrell as vice chair, raise your hand, please. 2, 3, 5. We have 5 hands raised on that. And then for the vice chair position for Commissioner Ornelas Wise, please raise your hand. 5, 6. Is that correct? Yep. So then if there's no hanging chads or anything like that, it looks like that carries, and Commissioner Ornelas Wise will be our vice chair coming in. And looking at anything else, we don't have any other items except that we'll be here in 2 weeks. And director has let me know that maybe there's a slight chance it might be canceled. It all depends on different work, but we should all plan on ending 2 weeks. Okay. Yes, Commissioner Barroso.
Yes, 7A went rather quick. Can I go back to that and ask the director for a quick question?
7A on the report from City Council. Yes.
Yes, okay. A couple of letters from our colleagues were written about the process of our last hearing, the housing element. And I wonder if at City Council in chamber, did they discuss the letters? Was there any reference to those letters and the comments?
Yes, there was discussion about. Was like.
Yes, that they were acknowledged and considered, but no more open dialogue about it.
Not that.
And
I
director,
definitely-
they had that was at least 3 hours. They discussed that item or longer.
More
Yep.
than.
Okay. I definitely want to appreciate everyone who co-signed Commissioner Cantrell's and our vice chair's letters. I think we definitely need to share our input, not only with votes, but with some narratives. So I definitely wanted to appreciate that. Thank you.
That Commissioner Tordias also sent a very.
Okay, I missed that one, but thank you.
Okay, now it's off to happy hour. No. All right, everyone. We'll wish you the best. We'll adjourn the meeting and see you in 2 weeks. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.